Much like politicians, celebrities never let a good crisis go to waste, nor did they let the opportunity slip by to let everyone know, again, how inept, ignorant, pandering, and downright stupid they can be. Hello, this is Mara Jade, and I'm here with another video, and I saw this article from Bounding Into Comics on Twitter last night entitled, Report. Thor actor Natalie Portman and Captain Marvel's Brie Larson sign open letter to defund police departments, even though law enforcement in general are the ones standing in between the rioters and looters in the streets and these celebs in their mansions, behind walls and security personnel, the likes of which most normal people do not have the luxury of having. And yet they want to defund police departments. So I'm going to go into this article, this complete insanity, yet again, from the Hollywood elite, and give my 2 cents on the situation. So let's dive into this, shall we? Oh my god. Alright, a number of Hollywood celebrities, including Marvel's Natalie Portman and Brie Larson, as well as singer John Legend, signed an open letter calling for the defunding of police departments across the United States of America in the wake of the death of George Floyd. Okay, for that situation, I'm not going to go too much into detail my feelings on this. However, I will state this. I am for prosecuting those cops who murdered George Floyd, prosecuting them to the full extent of the law. That's what I support. I support also the people peacefully protesting what happened to this man. I do not in any way support those using these events to loot and riot and commit acts of vandalism in cities. That's what's happening. And those are the ones that cops are having to deal with. The police departments you want to defund. Why? Why is it I have to ask these Hollywood elites, whenever an act of terrorism is committed, you're always quick to say, don't judge all Muslims because of a few terrorists, which is fine. I agree with that. But why is it when things like this happen, you want to paint all police officers as racist or murderers with a broad stroke? Instead of just saying, hey, don't judge the entirety of the police force or the entirety of the law enforcement. Judge these assholes who committed the heinous acts of the criminal acts. You love to quote Martin Luther King Jr. when he says, judge a person by the content of his character in his I Have a Dream speech. You were listening. You were hearing those words, but you weren't actually listening, because that's exactly what you're not doing. You're not judging the individuals by the content of their character. You're judging the entirety of the group. So you are, in fact, being discriminatory. But you can't see that because you're such hypocrites. But that's my 2 cents on that situation, so I'm going to go further into this article. This insanity, as I put it. The open letter titled, Defund Police, Defend Black Lives, claims that within the context of the scourge of anti-black police terror and the resulting uprisings taking place across the U.S., the COVID-19 deaths and the deaths caused by police terror are connected and consequential to each other. What the fuck does that mean? It's like my damn mayor, where I live, and the group he put together claiming that COVID-19 was fucking racist. It was a racial issue. What? It's a disease. It's non-discriminatory. It's equal opportunity. It doesn't matter your skin color, gender, or sexual orientation, or whatever fucking political views or religion you hold. You get it, you're sick. It doesn't matter. How is that? Oh my god. Alright. The letter adds, policing and militarization overwhelmingly dominate the bulk of national and local budgets. You have to keep cities safe. You have to keep cities safe, and part of that is you want to fund the law enforcement and you want to fund the hospitals. You want to keep people well and safe. Otherwise, you don't have a city. In fact, police and military funding has increased every single year since 1973, and at the same time, funding for public health decreased every year, crystallized most recently when the Trump administration eliminated the U.S. Pandemic Response Team in 2018, citing costs. Alright, I am basically for one better way of putting it, apolitical. I do not fall on either side of the political spectrum right now. I think both sides are just as corrupt as each other, basically. So I'm not going to point fingers at one side or the other. So you can't entirely blame Trump in this matter, because up until this point, it was a mix of Democrats and Republicans. So you can't blame one side in this matter. You want to, because Orange Man bad, but I'm looking at this going, since 1973, we've had Democrats presidents and we've had Republican presidents. And you want to blame one man because he happens to be a Republican and he happens to be the man you hate. Don't do that. It then frankly states, the time has come to defund the police. Why? The letter continues. Black communities are living in persistent fear of being killed by state authorities like police, immigration agents, and even white vigilantes who are emboldened by state actors. Oh my fucking god. These people are certifiably nuts. According to the Urban Institute, of course, like you basically go by one entity. You don't look at other ones across the board to make absolutely sure that what you're stating is in fact, truthful or factual even. It says, in 1977, state and local governments spent $60 billion on police and corrections. In 2017, they spent $194 billion, a 220% increase. It's called inflation. It's called inflation. The minimum wage increased, the cost of living increased, and so forth. So probably the $60 billion that you're citing in 1977 is probably close to the $194 billion we see today. It's like the cost of movies and the profits movies make. You look at movies made decades ago at a cheaper cost, but in actuality, if they were to be made today, they'd be more expensive. I don't know, it's almost economics 101. Despite continued profiling, harassment, terror, and killing of black communities, local and federal decision makers continue to invest in the police, which leaves black people vulnerable and our communities no safe for the latter ad. So basically, you're painting law enforcement with a broad brush, essentially, making them out to be nothing more than racist killers, essentially. Even though these are the same people who are standing between you in your ivory towers, in your mansions, in your little gated communities, and the thugs, the looters, the rioters, and those committing acts of crime in the streets under the guise of protesting the death. Now, I'm separating those people from the actual protesters, and I'm saying, again, that the cops in this case need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and I hope they are found guilty and the key is thrown away. At least the one guy who committed the act. Alright? The letter then details the money that currently goes to funding police could instead be redirected towards building healthy communities, to the health of our elders and children, to neighborhood infrastructure, to education, to childcare, to support a vibrant black future. The possibilities are endless. Well, how about you fuckers? With your millions and some even billions of dollars in revenue you get from the movies you make and the residuals you get, how about you actually put your money where your mouth is and do that shit? Invest in those communities. Are you going to do that? Are you? I doubt very seriously that you are. Like Brie Larson, for example, couldn't use her own money to send girls to go see her Captain Marvel film. No. She went through a charity, and that money that was raised to send those girls to the movie went back into Disney's pockets. And in a way, her pockets. They are hypocrites, the lot of them. It then calls for an end police-to-police terror. What the what? Grammar, people, did you not go to school? The letter then reiterates its call to defund police. We call for defunding of police and for those dollars to be rerouted to create a public national healthcare system. So basically, you want a socialist healthcare system. Essentially what you want. The letter then encourages signers to take the following pledge. Vote no on all increases to police budgets. Vote yes to decrease police spending and budgets. Vote yes to increase spending on healthcare, education, and community programs that keep us safe. I will say that education, I will support the, at least, not necessarily an increased budget for education, but a redesign of the education system in America, because it has... It's no longer education, it's indoctrination, and we're seeing fruits of that labor right here in these people who are signing, these celebrities who are signing these pledges for this act. Variety spoke with Black Lives Matter and Movement for Black Lives co-founder Patrisse Cullors about the letter, and was specifically asked about what the letter means with the use of the word defund. Cullors explained, yes, a demand to defund essentially means what places does law enforcement have money that is unnecessary. Law enforcement should not be the first responder for mental health crises. So let's say a crazy person who decides to stop taking his or her pills decides to go on, I don't want to say a criminal spree, but committing acts of, criminal act. And you don't want the police to be a first responder. Because I've seen situations like that. There was actually something that happened in the downtown area where I live. They shouldn't be the first responders for drug and alcohol abuse. Why not? Yes, you want emergency responders to go there, but those also involve law enforcement because they have to make sure there's nothing criminal going on. There are a significant number of public health crises that law enforcement are forced to be the first responders to, but should not be, and we could actually reallocate those dollars and give them back to the community. How about, like I said, those celebrities who are signing this damn pledge, this damn open letter to do this, put your money where your mouth is. Put your money where your mouth is and put your money back into the communities. It's that simple, really. She added, I'm talking about renegotiation of where we prioritize our money. Right now, it's mostly prisons and police, and we want to reallocate those dollars and put them into the community. Alongside Variety's interview with Cullors, they detailed that Lizzo, John Legend, Taraji P. Henson, Natalie Portman, Jane fucking Fonda. I cannot stand that woman with a passion. If you want to know why, look up Hanoi Jane. Hanoi Jane. And you'll see why. And ACLU Executive Director Anthony Romero had all signed the letter. Alright. And these are the names. ABC News also reported that rapper Talib Kweli signed the letter as well. Larson took to Twitter and encouraged her followers to their voice in response to proposed budget from Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti. Of course she would. It's not her money. It's not her money. Portman not only reportedly signed the letter, but she also joined Campaign Zero. On her Instagram, she listed out 8 policies that she claims, when combined, have the power to reduce police violence that results in death by up to 72%. Ban chokeholds and strangleholds. Require de-escalation, which cops do. Most cops do. I've seen that. Require warning before shooting. Most cops do that. They do that already. Exhaust all alternatives before shooting. Most of them, a vast majority of them, do that already. You've heard of tasers. Duty to intervene. Together, these 8 policies can decrease. Okay, duty to intervene. What the hell does that even fucking mean? Ban shooting at moving vehicles. Sometimes it has to happen. You don't... Again, it's the last resort most times, but sometimes it has to happen. Established use of force continuum. What? Require all force to be reported. Well, yes. General, if it's not reported, that's when internal affairs steps in. I mean, I don't know exactly everything that goes on, but my brother's friend is a cop, so I know a good bit about what goes on. And just about, whatever, everything they listed here with the exception of ban chokeholds and strangleholds, which I don't agree with entirely, because sometimes you have to subdue a person. But everything there, they do. Common, who starred in Suicide and Suicide Squad, not only reportedly signed the letter, but also encouraged his followers to raise awareness, organize votes, and continue to hold our elected officials accountable in office. Fine words. But again, put your money where your mouth is. He added, and don't forget, it's the local leaders we elect who have the biggest impact on your daily life. He then encouraged followers to register to vote. No, the biggest impact you have on your daily life is the choices you make. The decisions you make, the actions you take to help your own community. Not just yourself, but your own community. It's not the elected officials. They don't have the biggest impact. The only impact they have is when they're elected in and you hold their feet to the fire with the policy that they promised they were going to implement. But it's up to the people. Primarily, when you rely on elected officials, you are relying on a nanny state. Alright, jumped on me. It appears that some of the world's wealthiest people, who often employ personal security to protect themselves and family, wish to eliminate the public's ability to have their own security enforced by the police. There is no word yet if these celebrities will be creating a trust to pay for public safety outside of their gated communities. So basically, like I said, put your money where your mouth is. Put the money back in the communities. And also, if you really believed in what the hell you were talking about, fire those personal security bodyguards you have, tear down the walls surrounding your mansions, tear down the gates of your gated communities. So, no fences, no walls, no gates, no personal security, nothing whatsoever that the normal person, such as myself, would not be able to afford. You will be relegated to nothing more than, like, Guardian or ADT home security system, and that's it. You want to do this, you live like the normal person. If you truly believed it, you would do that. But you don't, because you're paying lip service to the group that you want to get virtue signaling brownie points from so you don't get canceled. That's why you're doing this. You don't give a shit about this. You don't. You really don't. Otherwise, you would do exactly everything that I suggested you do, and you're not going to do it because, God forbid, you use your own money to help your own communities. God forbid you live and experience what normal people have to deal with because we have to rely on the police to help us. But you don't think that way. You don't think that way. That's why you are the definition of insanity. You are downright stupid. You're asinine. You're ignorant. You're inept. Pick a adjective like that. That's what you are. But at any rate, that's my thoughts on the situation. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. I need all the validation I can get. Pretty much. But just kidding. But at any rate, also if you like this video and you want to share it on social media, do so if you will. This is Mara Jade. Catch me tonight on Orange Hat Reviews versus stream at 9 p.m. Eastern, where we pit Rey Palpatine against Valen. I am Team Valen. I'm going to say that straight out right now. Also, catch me tomorrow at normal time, I would say 10 p.m. Eastern, for the weekly live stream I do with Lethal Lightning, the Nerdy and the Lethal, where we cover basically the week's news of pop culture, or what I'm thinking about doing is like an open forum type chat, where whatever the chat wants to talk about, we'll talk about. At any rate, this is Mara Jade. Catch you on the dark side with my next video and or live stream. Take care.